for doing this. I
my
really,
pleasure.
really appreciate
I'm glad
this.
God hooked us up like this. It's definitely cool.
I want to let everybody know how we met. I got sober in 2010.
Okay.
I was going through a lot. I had moved. My little group was in Thomaston, but I had gotten a divorce and I moved to Waterbury. And I met some people up at the Waterbury meeting, and a couple people said, you got to start going to picnics and sober events.
Get out, yeah.
There's a sober bowling league on Thursday
I was gonna say that's what it was. I knew it had. Yeah.
So I said, I used to bowl. Okay, let me try it, and that's where I met you.
Exactly.
You and a bunch of the other guys. Everybody was really, really great. But every time I go to a sober event, there you are.
Pig roast.
Pig roast.
Yeah.
Doing service work. Yeah. And anytime your name is mentioned, people smile and say, what a good guy you are. So I do not know what your story is.
Oof.
So I would love for you to share it with everybody.
My name is Roy, and I'm without a doubt an alcoholic. I was born June 24th, 1961. I'm the second oldest of 5 kids. I'm the oldest male, which left a lot of high expectations. I have an Irish Catholic mother, and I have a Marine for a father. So, needless to say, my rulings as growing up were pretty rigid, and there was no room for play. It might blow you away, but my first drinking career was like 10 years. I drank from 13 to 23 years old. And the progression was crazy, but there wasn't a lot of imprisonment. There wasn't a lot of my story is not about smashed cars, divorce, lost homes. It was about that soul sickness. You know what I mean? And I always related to it as a soul sickness. That I just never fit in. And. Even though I wasn't born an alcoholic, I don't think I was. I think I was predisposed to have some of those isms or whatever. I don't know. I think I was an alcoholic waiting to happen, and at 13 years old, I had my first drink. And at 13 years old, it was the greatest thing. It was the greatest love. It was the greatest day of my. I remember it like it was yesterday. My first drink was an alcoholic drink. There was no doubt about it. The more I drank, the thirstier I got. And from that day forward, it was just it progressively each passing year, it got worse and worse. It was speed for a little bit, and then it was hallucinogenics, and I was the garbage head. I was the guy that people would say, "Well, here, give one of these to Roy and let us know what happens." I'm like, okay, that thing works.
Give it to Roy.
Yeah,
Roy will like
sure.
it.
Roy, only take one, Roy, or only take a half of that paper. And
I was petrified of all that. I never got into it. I did get into the cocaine. I loved the cocaine.
Yeah.
But I was petrified of all that.
I for whatever reason, maybe that was my source of pride, or maybe that was. Having people look up to me as opposed to looking down to me. Wow, Roy would do 2 of these. Then you might want to take one.
Yeah, it was almost like boasting.
That's right. That's the the source of my disease. I, self, and me. The isms. And I don't know. I really didn't get into a lot of trouble. I mean, things could have been worse. There was a lot of opportunity to. Some of the people I hung out with did a lot of, crazy stuff, but I was that guy that always I could hear my father in the back of my head. I'm like, maybe I won't go out with these guys, because I know what they're going to do. They're going to be robbing houses tonight. I don't want to be part of that.
Okay.
And for the most part, I stayed out of trouble, but the problem in my disease was definitely progressing. And my father, at 16, wanted me to get out of the house. You want to do whatever it is you're doing. I mean, obviously by this time at 16 years old, they already knew Roy was drunk, or Roy was having problems with alcohol. Coming home from dances and 2 o'clock in the morning, supposed to be home at 12 o'clock, and I'm trying to put the key in the door, and my mother opens the door and I fall flat on my face. You know what I mean?
there's an issue.
Right. You're not supposed to be on your face. You know, and
Yeah, there might be an issue if.
right, exactly.
So you said you went from like 13 to 23. Did you stop at 23?
Yes.
On your own?
No, actually I didn't. Like I said, at 16, I figured my parents are actually fighting back and forth because like my mother said, you know, if he goes out on the streets, he's going to end up dying. That was her fear. And my father's like, well, he's going to either grow or he's going to go. He's going to figure it out. So they're going back and forth. So I made the preemptive strike of moving out of the house and moving in with a buddy of mine for a year. His parents were a lot older. We did what we wanted. We had keg parties and lo and behold, things got worse and worse. And, you know, the drinking and drugging. Yeah. I ended up, because my father called me one day. He says, you got to move back in. Your mother just, she's just not dealing with it as well. So I actually moved back in. And they said, if you do anything, can you just graduate high school for us? So I did that. You know, I graduated by the skin of my teeth. At that point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to college. You know, so, you know, I better figure out something because if I continue to hang around North Haven, which is a small town cops, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to be in bigger trouble. So I made the decision. I just knew things were progressively getting worse. So so at that time in high school, I made the decision to join the United States Army. And I really went with all the intentions of getting my life together, getting some discipline, getting some structure in my life. And I ended up going into the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Did very well in my boot camp in school. I was trained for general construction equipment operator. And then they made a mistake of sending me to Germany. So needless to say, with all the great intentions of getting my life together, progressing, onward, it went from, drinking some of the best beers in the world and smoking hashish every day and all intentions of being good went out the window. And needless to say, 2 years there, and I had a great time. I really did have a great time, but things just disease really started kicking in as far as blaming people, places, and things for all my actions. And
of course, there's somebody else's problem.
Always, for me the solution was alcohol, and the problem was people, places, and things. A year before I was supposed to be done in the Army, I ended up getting kicked out. So here I am, 23 years old, going back to my parents' house with my tail between my legs and being, feeling disgraced and guilty and remorse. And so I ended up getting a job. I ended up getting a job at one of the biggest package stores in the state of Connecticut at the time. And that's where the progression really kicked in. I was drinking basically all day long. I would go into McDonald's, get my coffee, pour half of it out, pour whatever liquor in there, or orange juice or whatever. Drink during the course of the day, leave with a 6-pack or a half pint of something, and then go to a buddy of mine's. And I would be able to drink there until like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
24 hours.
Yeah, so it's at this point, it was to the point where I had so much alcohol in my system that it didn't take as much, at the bar to drink, to really get drunk. And that's when I got my first DWI. I was down in a bar actually in New Haven, and for somehow, some way, I was coming from Wallingford on Route 5 into North Haven. I don't know how I got from point A to point B. The cops said they followed me for I don't know how many miles, but I was 4 times over the limit. The judge was like, I don't know how you weren't either comatose or dead. Well, needless to say, I got to go to court in 4 weeks, in a month. 3 weeks later, I got my second DWI. Now they want to put me in Whaley Avenue for 18 months, and I said, no, that's not happening. So my parents ended up bonding me out. A couple months later, I went to my first and only rehab, the greatest program ever.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 23 years old at that time. This is where I learned what alcoholism is, what alcohol does to a person, an alcoholic like myself. This is where I saw Father Martin's Chalk Talk. This is where we had people come in, from New Haven area, come to talk to us, and it was a 4-week program. We did group sessions. We did, one-on-one. We did family sessions with my parents and my brothers and sisters. We just got a lot of stuff out. You know what I mean? Just rural. It was probably one of the best things I ever did for my life. The thing was, when I first got out, they told me, do the 90-90, which I did. And actually I did 430 some odd meetings my first year. We started a lot of young people's meetings where you could talk about whatever, as long as it got back to
alcohol.
Yeah, recovery.
Okay. Recovery.
Recovery
Good.
too.
Good.
So I got involved early and often. You know what I mean? And that was important for me. They told me it was a disease of self. That I need to to learn to coexist with others and rightly relate to others and
living life on
right. Yeah. Which I didn't. I'm learning here.
Yeah. I'm still learning.
I'm 20. Yeah, 23, 24, 25, and 1988. I went to help a buddy out. He was catering a wedding for his sister, and at that time, there was this woman, and she was sitting over there, whatever. And there's a couple of all these older women are coming up there. You think you could dance after when you're done working? You think maybe you can take our niece out for a dance? And I said, sure. I'm working right now, but yeah.
Why not?
And so eventually I did. So we were talking, and the funny thing is, like a couple months before that, I was talking about, I wanted to settle down, get in a relationship, and eventually get married, and that's what happened that day. Me and my wife.
She's your wife now?
Yes.
Oh my God,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so here it is, 1988. I was 4 years sober, and I was ready. I heard that. Remember Old Man Leo? He used to talk about the proverbial pop.
Yes.
Well, 4 years sober, I heard that pop, and I knew that there was a God working in my life. I knew that I was, on the right road to recovery, that trudging that road to happy destiny, and I just really felt like this is my life. I finally grew up at, 20 some odd years old, and she goes, well, I want to tell you one thing, and she goes, I have 3 young boys at home. And I said, well, when can I meet them? And this was a Saturday, and then the following day, on a Sunday, I came here and I met them, and my youngest, who was 5 at the time, he's 37 now. He said, "Are you going to marry my mommy?" And I'm like, I said,
You're like,
I don't know, kid. Look, you play your cards right.
It's only been 24 hours.
I know,
all right.
If you play your cards right, kid, no.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's funny. The following year, we got married, 1989, October 15th, 1989. Well, actually, the year before I moved in, I met her in May, moved in October. I sat down with my boys and I said, well, how do you guys feel about me, moving in? And they said, yeah, we have no problem. So then following October, we got married, and then the following May, we had my daughter. She was born in May of 1990. And my wife used to talk about, what it is to be an alcoholic and this, that, and the other thing. And try to explain that to her, it just doesn't, it doesn't ring. It's like you telling me about pregnancy or whatever. I can intellectually understand parts of it, but not.
Yeah. If somebody's talking to me about alcoholism and they know nothing about it, I'm looking at them like they've got 3 heads, like, really? Because they read it in a book.
Right.
But
they've experienced it.
I've experienced it. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It's the experiences that we all have. We know. And we don't even have to say anything. Just walking into an AA room, you feel like you know everybody in there. And that's, I think, why so many people say when they walk in, they just feel a relief,
When my daughter came along, obviously I had to take on a second job. There's 4 kids, and my wife was working part-time. I was working 6 days a week.
When did you start drinking again? As I hear that butt coming
in. Oh yeah, no, that's the issue. Needless to say, like I said, I really didn't have roots in Waterbury. So needless to say, I didn't have
a job,
right.
So I
felt like God's got me going in the right direction. I got a family. I'm happy. I'm at peace. I feel like I'm heading in that direction. But it went from 1 meeting a week to 1 meeting a month. I want to say by the mid-90s, I was done. There's no more meetings. Somewhere right after that, became a little marijuana maintenance. My wife and my kids didn't I used to go out on the deck and, after everyone went to bed and I take my, do my little, just to get the edge off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just to
you
relax.
deserved it.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, you deserved it. You're doing a lot.
Attaboy, Attaboy. Fast forward all this, what I look back and I like to call it my spiritual erosion. All that stuff
that you learned.
That relationship I had with God, the relationship I had with others, the relationship I had with myself, being at peace with myself, all that starts, start getting a little edgy. Look, what are you talking about? What are you looking at? That restlessness, you don't see it. You don't see it. It's coming back. I kind of look at it as like the California coast. Everybody knows it's slowly slipping away. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't see it, but it's happening. Mm-hmm. And that's the insanity of my disease, It's very, very patient. Patient beyond comprehension. It's like this going, okay, Roy.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for you. Let's go. It's gonna happen. Fast forward 2000. Me, my kid brother, a couple of his buddies were going to the Ozfest. And I was going there, I was smoking the weed and, drinking my soda, and I ran out of soda, and next thing I know, my brother goes, here, go in the cooler. And it looked like an iced tea to me. And I'm thinking, all right, no problem. I'm looking at it as I'm drinking it. And I knew nothing about Mike's Hard Lemonade. I mean,
twisted teas, yeah.
We didn't, we had beer and hard liquor. You guys got alcohol and everything. You got alcohol and
it's sparkling water now.
I know, you know what I mean? I'm
I was like, where the hell was that when I was drinking?
What are you trying to do to me? So, I swear to Lori, at that point, I just said, you know what? I don't even care.
Yeah,
it was already crossed over the lips, and needless to say, the rest of the day was just a
blur,
a shit show. Yeah, it was just a blur. It was just, and I couldn't wait to do it again. I couldn't wait to drink. But then I try to dress it up. I'm going out and getting these these crafted beers. I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking. But right.
Now you're
I'm drinking. Yes, this IPA. This. You know what I mean? Right.
That's what I try to do with the martini.
Exactly.
I'm being very, very sophisticated with my martini.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm drinking vodka out of a bottle at night.
Exactly.
Good Lord. Isn't it crazy? It's crazy.
But that's how the mind. That's how the mind works.
It's insanity.
And that was my first drink of alcohol in 16 years. Even though I wasn't sober, 16, but it was. Yeah. It definitely was a game changer.
Wow.
One thing is smoking weed and not being sober, but then drinking.
No, I hear this all the time because I have not experienced the relapse.
Good.
After 16 years, does it get as bad as everybody says it does?
And worse.
And worse.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
It's not.
All right, I'm going to trust you.
No. Okay. Trust me today. Trust me every day.
When I hear these things, that's what
it was
bad.
That's why I like to hear people who've
I
been
can't
there.
imagine it getting worse.
No, it's
and
definitely.
I hear that all the time. So thank you.
I'm
sorry.
No.
But
that's
I
part
need
of
to hear
That's
that.
God wants me to have this story.
How long did it go on for before you said that?
It got into a lot of other drugs, and I won't go into all of them, but I have to acknowledge crack cocaine because it is part of my story, and it definitely sped up that proverbial elevator to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for that, you and I probably wouldn't be having this conversation. I would probably be sitting there, either divorced, or maybe I would be divorced. I don't know. Or I would be somewhere, or dead. Right. There would be so many. No, I wouldn't be that lucky. No, I would be the guy just with the bigger belly, the ulcer, the cirrhosis. I would have. This disease would definitely beat me because my pride wouldn't
allow it.
Yeah.
I hear
pride will kill me.
Yeah, I hear that a lot too. The drugs, escalated.
Oh, without a doubt.
Escalated. I hear that all the time. Even for me, when I think about it. Once I stopped doing cocaine because, and I stopped, so I don't have a problem. I could stop. But now I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts and asking for a large coffee, but just fill it halfway so I could put my, and so, it's the insanity of it all.
It's crazy.
Did you mentioned before that it was the one and only time that you were in rehab, so how did you do it the second time around?
Actually, the wife said, well, do you think that you need to go away? The morning after my last drunk was 2006 was my last drunk.
Okay.
And on Saturdays I used to go 9 o'clock we used to open up. And it was at that moment, there was like 2 hours that I had to wait before my company opened up. It was at that moment in time that I had that moment of clarity that they talk about. I didn't make a conscious decision in my head that I need to stop drinking. You know what I mean? I had wanted to stop drinking. You know, I was sick and tired of it. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was sick and you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't remember how it happened, but I remember crying out that 4-letter prayer of help. You know, and that was my awakening. That was my spiritual moment, and like I said, I don't remember conscious. I don't know where that came from. I know today that came from my heart, my soul. That was me inviting God into my life for the first time in a very long time. And I get chills thinking about it because
me too. I get a little choked up over it because
it was powerful because
very powerful.
You know, because I have this ego that wants to fight I don't want to give up drinking.
Yeah.
I will die before I give up drinking.
Yeah.
And that's one of the worst feelings ever. And just I don't know. I had no more angles to shoot, no more excuses, no more
and
control this,
aren't
do
they
that.
All excuses?
Yeah,
That's what they are.
It's just that fear of not living with that safety net. You know what I mean? Alcohol is my safety net, and then and then you guys tell me, you got to take that leap of faith, and where am I leaping into it? It just that was that.
But why? But why? But why?
Yeah,
but
right.
Why?
I mean, I knew where I had to be. I knew where I needed to be, and I knew I just had to call up the number and find out where my first meeting was going to be. My first meeting actually was a week later. It was on a Friday.
Did you jump right back in it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Feet first. If you put half as much into sobriety that you did drinking and drugging, you're going to be all right. You know what I mean? Or I was refocused. This time around, it was 100%, which it had to be. There had to be no reservation.
No reservation.
There had to be nothing. Complete defeat. Complete. That's what sobriety is to me. That first step is surrendering. And sobriety. I had to start looking at it like a spiritual dwelling, like a house. I had to look at it like to build a house. You need what? You need blueprints. What's my blueprint? How it works. How it works is my blueprint. And like any good house, any smart builder, you're going to build your house on what?
Good foundation.
Right, good foundation, firm bedrock. And that's my first 3 steps, I can't, he can, and he will if I let him.
If you let him.
Right.
That's the thing.
And at this point in time in my life, there's no ego. There's, I'm ready, willing, and able to do whatever it takes. They talk about the how of how it works. The honesty, or you could put the word in humility, the open-mindedness that, I don't have the plans today. I don't have everything figured out. I know nothing. Even though I had all those years, I didn't have enough days, I want to say what really saved me was the meat and potatoes, 4 through 9, and beginning to get right with myself. And then start, in 4 through 7, and then 8 and 9 getting right with others. Beginning to make the steps towards getting right with others. And then I look at the last 3 steps as the maintenance steps. Like anybody that has a home or a house, there's upkeep. There's always things you got to fix, or either I got to be on top of the heap, or I'm crawling underneath the bottom of it. And I had to be okay with just being okay, and
it's okay.
It didn't have to be, but when you have a disease of self, you're constantly wrapped up. I'm constantly wrapped up in myself, and how you perceive me. How is Lori looking? What does she think about? And then I'm thinking about
always
have that facade of
projecting, and
if I look good on the outside, it doesn't matter what a shit show I am on the inside, And these steps helped me through all that.
Yeah.
I had to look at it like, here's Roy and here's God at the end of 12 steps. And there's that channel they talk about. And that channel's all clogged, It's all clogged with the baggage of, the wreckage of my past, and, all the damage that I did. My 8-step list was kind of short, but the damage was deep. And they do, there's the living amends.
The living amends. I love that
because
word,
you're not,
amends. means
Yeah,
you're doing
you're
the
not
next right
drinking,
thing.
you're not creating more havoc.
Havoc.
You're not, not adding to my step
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
And, and these are things these are my saving grace, And then early and often, thank God, people like John and a couple other people have said, we're doing the pig roast, or we're doing sober bowling, or we're doing this, or we're.
Every time I go to any sober event, there you are.
Yeah, that's
with a
what's
smile
my
on your
saving.
face.
My
With a smile on your face. I don't know what was going on inside,
Yeah.
but I felt it was genuine.
I was with my kindred spirits,
You were with your peeps. But that's the gifts of sobriety, and I keep on giving.
It
And I
definitely is a
love
good
you for
one.
doing this with me.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, Ron.
You're welcome.
Until next
Is that
time,
a wrap?
guys. All right.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Awesome.